Moving on to the most important session of the day, it's going to be the Professor Sam G.P. Moses oration. To chair this oration, we invite eminent professors, Professor Dr. R.S. Hariharan sir, Professor N. Rajendran sir, and Professor P. Darbarajan sir to the dais, please.
As it was announced, it is one of the most important events of the conference today. No less an oration brought in the name of Professor Sam G.P. Moses, the patriarch of diabetology in India and a mentor to most of us here. In fact, he was the one who was instrumental even in starting a separate chapter for diabetes in Chennai, the RSSDI, not to speak of the original Diabetes Association of India as well as RSSDI National. And to deliver this oration, we have again no less a person than Dr. Jyotidev Keshav Dev, who is going to talk to us on my quarter century with diabetes technology, lessons from the front line. I think it's one of the things that we look forward to, what we have in store in the years to come. Dr. Keshav Dev.
Research Society for the Study of Diabetes in India, RSSDI Tamil Nadu chapter, has immense pleasure in honoring Dr. Jyotidev Keshav Dev. He is a renowned research diabetologist based in Kerala, South India. He has an impressive educational and professional background, having earned his MBBS, MD, and several prestigious fellowships from prestigious institutions in India and abroad, including the Royal College of Physicians in the UK and the American College of Endocrinology in the USA. He has extensive teaching experience, having served as an assistant professor and lecturer at the Government Medical College in Trivandrum. He is currently the chairman and managing director of Jyotidev Diabetes Research Center in Trivandrum, Cochin, and Attingal, as well as the chairman and managing trustee of DiabScreen Kerala. He holds several other leadership positions in professional associations and organizations. He has several research interests, which includes diabetes education, continuous glucose monitoring, insulin pumps, and telemedicine. He has made significant contributions to the field with numerous publications, presentations, and invited lectures at national and international conferences. Dr. Keshav Dev has been a principal investigator for several research studies on various diabetes-related topics. Keshav Dev is recognized for his expertise and has received numerous honors and awards, including the Mahatma Gandhi Cultural Award, the Incredible Medical Expert of the Decade Award, and the Jeevan Rakshan Award. He is an internationally known expert in the field of insulin pumps, continuous glucose monitoring, and telemedicine, and has introduced these technologies in India. He is a highly accomplished and most respected research diabetologist who has made significant contributions to the field of diabetes management and education in India and globally. The Tamil Nadu State Chapter of RSSDI takes pride in honoring Dr. Jyotidev Keshav Dev with Professor Sam G.P. Moses oration on the 29th of September 2024 during the 15th annual conference at Chennai.
Professor Darbarajan sir will now present the citation to the orator, Dr. Jyotidev Keshav Dev. Professor N. Rajendran sir to endow the orator with a shield.
I am very much honored, and my profound thanks to RSSDI for this privilege. I will not take away much of your time. So when Dr. Anand Moses sir invited me for this oration, I told him that I am supposed to be in another event, but I am definitely going to be there for your program. So this is an honor for me, and I will tell you the reasons. So I have no specific disclosures to be disclosed for this oration. I am personally connected to Dr. Sam G.P. Moses. So I know him personally, and I had the fortune of listening to Sam G.P. Moses sir multiple times when I was a MD student in the Government Medical College, Trivandrum. And it was always a privilege to be there when he was lecturing, and he is one of those who actually inspired people like me to be there in diabetology. He's a doyen in diabetology, and we, the students, when we were in the medical college as MD students and later on as assistant professor, we used to rush for his lectures. And he is passionately described as the father of diabetology in our country. And thank you so much for this honor. So let me now move on to the responsibility which is given to me today. And that is to share my experiences and insight on diabetes technologies and how we have been using it for more than 25 years now. The journey started when I was a kid. When I was 7th standard in my school. My father was a person with diabetes. And I used to monitor the glucose. At those times, only the Benelux reagent was available. And I used to inject the animal insulins, monotard, the Lende, and so on. I lost my father when I was only 16 years old. And fortunately, 1 year later, I got admission for MBBS. And this is a very recent picture with my mother. My mother is a person with diabetes for 57 years. And luckily what I have done, I initiated her on insulin long ago, when I was in 2nd year of my medical school. So I believe there are two important aspects in diabetes care. Number one, initiating insulin sufficiently very early. And number two, regular structured monitoring of glucose and other parameters. I couldn't do this for my father because it was not available at those times, but I somehow procured a glucometer for my mother. I imported it from abroad. And it costed me around 7,000 rupees, and this was in early 1990s. The Ames reflectance glucometer, which is still with me. It took more than 5 minutes to measure the glucose with this glucose meter, but it was somewhat precise. And many senior members in the audience will remember this glucose meter. I got a job as an assistant professor in the same hospital, in the same college where I studied. And then I realized that I am forced to examine more than 300 people with diabetes in less than 3 hours. Whereas, when I started a clinic in my home, it was a small consultation room, I realized that I can spend more than 30 or even 45 minutes with a person, counseling them, training them, empowering them, and then convincing them on why insulin is required, why monitoring is required. Within 6 months of starting my practice in my private clinic, one of my very close friends in the newspaper, he called me. He said, Jyotidev, there is an issue happening. I received a letter to the editor. This is a topmost newspaper in Kerala. I received a letter that you are having an unholy association with a pharma company in the United States. You are compelling your patients with diabetes to procure a product. And we have probably this person who has written the letter, he has mentioned that he has taken the opinion from 2 more doctors, and according to them, this is not at all essential for treating diabetes. And do you know what the device was? Yeah, it was that glucometer. It was that simple innocent glucometer. It was one touch basic at those times, and I somehow spoke to him for almost 1 hour, and then he was convinced that this is a device which is so useful for treating diabetes. Anyway, I was saved, and that was the first lesson I learned. That is the first lesson I learned on how we doctors need to be cautious, why we doctors should be very careful and need to spend some quality time with our patients when we are prescribing or promoting a slightly more expensive technology in diabetes. And this space is now expanding. It is no longer glucometer now. The technologies have advanced, the treatments have advanced. However, if you look into the space here, treatments have advanced, technologies have advanced. However, the outcomes have remained the same, or even the outcomes have worsened over the years. The diabetes outcomes have worsened over the years, and if you look at the statistics, this is World Health Organization, the 9th leading cause of death worldwide. So the scenario is perhaps very, very bad now. And we need to do something more. And when we doctors are meeting, so I am part of RSSDA, and so when we doctors are meeting, so many friends are sitting over here, Dr. Shanmugavelu, Dr. G. Vijaykumar, Dr. Sharma. So many friends are, Dr. Birmari or Ragesh Pari. So Ragesh Pari and us are in technology. So we have a DTech, our own organization in the country, Dr. Arvind Jayadash. So when we doctors are meeting, we discuss about how we can overcome these challenges. And we have solutions. We have solutions on how to overcome these challenges. But we doctors are at large not that powerful to execute. We are not having that power or knowledge or know-how to execute what we know as solutions. So way back in 1997, I had a friend. And we sat together. He was an IT expert. And then we created a platform for telemedicine. And we created a standalone platform. And that was dedicated EMR for telemedicine. And that was the beginning of diabetes telemanagement system, a telemedicine-based a model for chronic diabetes care. I had an opportunity to be there at the Mayo Clinic as an endocrinology fellow. And this was when I got exposed to almost all the available diabetes technologies, all the popular diabetes technologies. And from the Mayo Clinic, I have conducted multiple online programs for Kerala, for doctors, for patients, and this is the then Minister of Health in Kerala. And this is in 2003, and this is, you can see, identify Yogesh Kudva. And these are the Stephen Smith, these are the Mayo Clinic doctors. And remember, this was exclusively via the internet. Similar to the programs we are conducting via webinars in the Zoom. And with telemedicine, whether it is for education or whether it is for diabetes care, reducing the hemoglobin A1C, eliminating hypoglycemia, reducing the cost of care, reducing the progression of chronic kidney disease in diabetes. We have n number of publications, and leveraging the same for COVID care, we created a interventional home care model in more than 1,000 patients during the COVID pandemic. When we came back from US, we realized that technologies are not existent in the country. And this was the beginning of Medtronic in our country. When Adrian Good launched Medtronic, and that was in 2004, I didn't have a hospital at that time. I was jobless, only with a consultation room at home. And sitting on my table, there are two devices. One is CGMS and the other is insulin pump. Insulin pumps took off like anything in the country. It was unexpected success in the country. However, again, we had a crisis. And this was some of our own fraternity and doctors in subspecialties and in other specialties, including doctors in family medicine, criticizing the use of insulin pumps. Why should you use continuous subcutaneous insulin infusion? What are the advantages? We do have the insulin pens, then why go for advanced gadgets for insulin delivery? So it was a necessity at those times. It was a legal requirement to publish a guideline. So I am so thankful to Dr. Mohan Sir, our own Padma Shri Mohan Sir from Chennai, Dr. A. Ramachandran, Dr. Shashank Joshi, Dr. A.K. Das, and many others. We wrote guidelines specific, customized for the Indian scenario, which we again wrote multiple times in other journals. We have updated the guidelines, but let me tell you, it was a necessity for survival, for use of technologies at those times, and this was way back in 2010. And this is the beginning of those technologies in the country. And this is how the delivery devices have progressed in the country. Delivery devices right from the discovery of insulin. If you are to go back to the insulin pen, it was from the Novo family, Novo Pen, in 1985. But years before the launch of Novo Pen, in the 1960s, there was the first prototype of insulin pump. And then from South Korea, we had the first commercially available pump. And that was 3 years even before the Minimed Medtronic, and that was a Suil pump in 1979. And it has progressed. And if you go back to the progression of insulin pumps, the insulin pumps are no longer the standalone devices. So from Gen 1 to Gen 2, and this is stage 5 of automation. Now it is advanced hybrid closed loop systems. So what do you mean by advanced hybrid closed loop? In advanced hybrid closed loop, there is change of basal insulin every 5 minutes. So we were listening to the previous speakers. Dr. Shanmugam discussed about Somogi phenomenon, the Dawn phenomenon. So there are many people with type 2 diabetes, almost everyone with type 1 diabetes, who will require a different basal every 5 minutes. So the basal keeps on changing, and basal can even stop. There won't be any delivery of insulin even for more than 6 hours every 24 hours. And if you have still a question, this is the average TIR in people with type 1 diabetes on various therapies which appeared in Diabetes Care. So when you have a continuous glucose monitoring along with multiple daily injections, or it can be CGM along with even an insulin pump, on an average, the time in range remains only at 55%. Only at 55%. You won't reach more than 70%. That is the reality. But once you connect the insulin pump wirelessly with a sensor through an algorithm, and when you automate, it reaches more than 70%. So more than 70%. So it is possible. And once it was thought impossible, we all believe that it is impossible with multiple daily injections to reach a target of more than 70 or 80%. And these are the devices and the broad classification of AAD, the commercially available AAD, and the open source automated insulin delivery devices. In India, we don't have more than 90% of these devices. We do have only 780G, but comparable. The outcomes are comparable with Omnipod and Dexcom, the Tandem Diabloop, Cambay, so almost comparable efficacy. And this is the first real-world evidence published from the country, from our side. The first 25 patients on automated insulin delivery. And when I say the TIR is more than 82%, this is something which was impossible. And it is difficult to even believe in type 1 diabetes, this is possible. This has been achieved or accomplished. And we are soon, in another 6 months to 1 year time, we are expecting the launch of the first patch pump in India, and that is from the Roche family. Of course, Medtronic has also acquired a patch pump. I don't know when they are going to launch globally. And if it is launched, it is going to be a convenient option for those with type 1 and difficult to treat type 2 diabetes. What about the poor people? How can they afford? That is a big question whenever we are discussing all those innovations. Innovations, whether it is a drug or whether it is a technology, innovations comes with a price. And for the unaffordable, there are the options, and this is the open source algorithms, and these are people creating their own artificial pancreas, reinventing the older insulin pumps, and then connecting with continuous glucose monitoring systems and downloading the algorithms. And this is a review. This is not a review. It is an extensive guide on how to create an artificial pancreas. And this is one of our own publications referred to in the guidelines by all the organizations, ADA, EAS, EAST, and our own RSSDA. The reason being, some of these created by the patients and their family members are far, far superior. It is a secret. It is far, far superior to the commercially available devices. And if you review the data of the, I do have patients. If you review the data, it is 100% time in range. And the reason being, dynamic ISF, super microbolusing, all of these are automated in the newer systems. Because when you are something which is commercially available has to go through clinical trials. Here there are no clinical trials. So it is not regulated. The doctors are not supposed to prescribe this. But according to the American Diabetes Association, all the doctors treating diabetes, everyone, since more and more people are used to DIY, we should have the basic knowledge on how to have a conversation with the patients. So this is CGMS Gold. Way back in 1999, it was globally launched, and in India, it was launched in 2004. And we were fortunate to even have an oral presentation at the American Diabetes Association based on CGMS. CGMS is the name of the first device. Don't use CGMS for other devices. It is CGM, continuous glucose monitoring. CGMS Gold is only for the first device which was launched by Medtronic. And this is how it has evolved over the years. The sensors have become smaller. Sensors have become more user-friendly. The sensors have become much more reliable and with lower MARD. This is one example of a mean absolute relative difference, 9.4%. That means it is very, very accurate, almost reliable like a glucose meter. And now with the phone, I know that many of you are wearing the sensor even without diabetes. Even for a metabolic health, you can wear a sensor. And via Bluetooth, you can connect. Via near field communication, you can connect with the sensor. And even if you are not having a near field communication enabled phone, the same in real time can be shared with up to 20 people. So the moment you scan and you have a value, the patients can share in real time up to 20 other people, maybe in another continent. And if you have 500 patients, or if you have 20 patients, or if you have 2,000 patients on these sensors, you can have a LibreView platform where the entire data will be populated, and you click on an individual patient and the details including the ambulatory glucose profile report will be displayed. And individual days can again be used for patient coaching. So why should you promote this expensive device to the patients? Should we be having the courage to discuss all these expensive devices and monitoring mechanisms to our patients or not? I will tell you the reason. The evidence is so compelling. The evidence is so compelling that it has now been incorporated in all the guidelines, ADA, AS, EASD, RSSDI, reducing the CV mortality, reducing the overall mortality, reducing the hospitalizations, reducing hyperglycemia, overall reduction in hyperglycemia, reduce absenteeism, and almost everyone who is empowered, trained, and counseled on how to use a sensor will come back and tell you that there is an improvement in my quality of life. There is immense sense of satisfaction, almost complete elimination of hypoglycemia. And there are n number of publications and evidences being generated from our own country. These are some of our own publications, and the space is expanding. We are having newer and newer devices hit the market, and these are some of the newer devices. Libre 2 Plus will be launched in India too. Libre 3 Plus, these are all integrated CGM. The meaning of an integrated CGM is the CGM which can be connected to a third-party dosing algorithm in the mobile phone or with another insulin pump device. Ever since 365 stands for 365 days. And this is the only CGM which is an implantable sensor which will have a life for one complete year. So one sensor can last for all the seasons to come. And these new sensors such as Libre 3 Plus, it is 70% smaller when compared to the existing sensors. The pioneers, and this is now an OTC. If you are not promoting, if you are not discussing, the patients in India can procure it online from Amazon or from Flipkart. So they are buying it. They have more probably business from online. And in the United States, it is an OTC product. There are a couple of products such as Rio and Linko. And this is Stilo from Dexcom, and these are OTC products. And this is a new CGM. And this is getting launched in Europe in 3 countries in another 3 days. And this is from Roche family. Accu-Chek Smart Gate. What is special about this CGM? This is only CGM with artificial intelligence enabled predictions. And this is by itself a 30 minutes lecture. CGM space is expanding. So alongside continuous glucose monitoring, you will have soon continuous ketone monitoring. So the same sensor from Abbott will be monitoring both the ketones and the sugars. And you may ask, why should I monitor the ketones continuously? And this has been described by Owen Neal. And he said, of course, an airbag in your automobile may be useless. All of us are having an airbag in our automobiles. But once in a life, one day, it might save your life. So that's the importance of having CKA monitoring, especially those having continuous subcutaneous insulin infusion or multiple daily injections, or even type 2 patients prone for ketosis on some therapies. Even if there is a kinking or a blockade of the pump, there will be early signals in the sensor. Medtronic has been the pioneer for all these technologies, but they have been lagging behind in sensor technology. So they are now there with their Simplera sensor, and Simplera gets attached to, or it can be used as a standalone, or it can be used along with 780G, or it can be used along with the InPen, that is a connected insulin pen. What are connected insulin pens? Connected insulin pens can be described as a poor man's insulin pump. However, they are slightly more expensive than the conventional insulin pens. They have Bluetooth connectivity. They can connect to a sensor. They can, via NFC, transfer the information of insulin dosing to a mobile health application. And this is one example of a Bigfoot insulin pen cap. The moment you scan the cap on the sensor, you can see it is displaying the glucose value over there, 260. And alongside, it will also display the insulin to be injected. How much dose of insulin need to be injected, or a correction dose to be injected. And for almost all the pens, the Bigfoot solutions are available. So let me have a solution. If you cannot, and if you are unable to use all these technologies, we can still offer a connected glucose meter to your patients. That is available at no extra cost. There is no cost involved. And this comes with 3 glucose meters in India. And MySugar, I will say, that is the most popular app for diabetes care globally. So this is a quiz, which is the most popular mobile health application for treating diabetes globally for all types of diabetes. Currently, it is used by 4 million people with type 1, type 2, GDM and so on. And this has been actually founded by people with diabetes, with endless possibilities, seamless possibilities. You can log in insulin data, you can log in oral medication data, you can capture a picture of the diet. And there is a virtual assistant, and this is a partner in diabetes care, a green monster. And studies have shown this again from our own site, that there is more than 0.5% reduction in the hemoglobin A1C. My oration will be incomplete if I am not touching upon artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence is penetrating into every space in diabetes care, and it is even replacing the conventional algorithms such as proportional integral derivative, the model predictive control in Medtronic and Omnipod pumps respectively. And now it is going to be AI data driven algorithms. And these are the neural net artificial pancreas, requiring 6 times less computational speed. When compared to University of Virginia model predictive control, you can see the results remain almost the same for TER, time above range, time below range. And if these are going to be there with us, commercially available, then it is going to have a certainly a reduction in the cost, incredible reduction in the overall cost of diabetes care. The wearable devices. Wearable devices, probably number 1 globally is the Apple Watch, and the most recent Apple Watch launched a week ago. It can even detect, it can even diagnose a sleep apnea. So for those Apple users during our consultation, if they have a watch and a phone, it is a routine for us for the last 2 years to go through the Apple Health data on the sleep duration, the REM sleep, the resting heart rate, the exercise minutes, the amount of physical activity, the average over the last month, the last 6 months, and so on. So the wearable devices are going to revolutionize the care, and this is GlucoWare. They were there at the DTech as well as at the ATTD, and this is going to monitor the glucose wirelessly, continuously. Why non-invasive? Non-invasive, according to the experts, the industry is very big, and it is predicting a booming market in the next 5 years. At the recent EASD 2 weeks ago, I stumbled upon this device, GluCube, only available in Spain currently. This is also non-invasive. You can insert your finger onto the space here, and it will display the glucose levels in the mobile phone app. And this is G-Wave, and this is the first author, Earl Hirsch, and we took a picture at the EASD, and this is the first pioneering publication on G-Wave, which appeared in Diabetes Technology and Therapeutics. Again, totally non-invasive. And if you ask me the accuracy, that is also slightly surprising. 97% of values in zone A in the Clark error grid zone, as accurate as a glucometer. If this is going to be a reality, it will be disruptive. It will be disruptive. All the existing technologies will get replaced with non-invasive wearable technologies. And one major difference is the currently available CGM devices are measuring interstitial glucose, whereas these devices are measuring blood glucose. So that is the essential difference. So this is again back to India. Some of the papers along with Dr. Mohan sir, we are in the forefront in technologies. In India, we are in forefront. We are probably second or third globally. And if you ask me, what is technology in diabetes? I will say, technologies in diabetes can be compared to adding a little bit of salt onto the dishes. And it will completely transform. It will completely transform the overall taste and flavor. So let me also, with the consent of the authorities, the organizers, take this opportunity to invite all of you to the next edition of JEBA. I know that many of you are there for our program in Trivandrum, and next year it is going to be the 13th year. And in conclusion, let me tell you, even the right technology, because all the technologies are not for all the patients with diabetes, even the right technology can kill a wrong patient. So don't use the automated insulin delivery devices if the patients cannot use it. And even when the patients are unaffordable, they may be unaffordable, but for a life-saving technology for that person, discuss the possibilities. Discuss that it is available in our country. They may or may not procure it, but that is our responsibility. So I am here only because of my family and staff, and they are supporting me, and they do the work. And immensely thankful to all the members in my clinic and in my research for all the accomplishments. And thank you very much, my dear members of RSD Tamil Nadu, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Kesav. Certainly, you have enlightened the current technologies in the field of diabetology, which is certainly the need of the hour for the young diabetologists who are here. And also the pathway you have started from your 7th year, treating your father, then your mother, which probably might have been prompted you to focus your interest in this field. That is, I think. Certainly, sir, thank you. And even at the current, recently, one device has been devised that also he has highlighted, that is the painless method of estimating that the blood sugar. That is most of the devices that is currently available, like Libre and other CGMs, that we estimate that the blood sugars in the interstitial fluid, whereas the current one, he says, that is why I have confirmed with him, he said it estimates that the capillary blood glucose. Definitely that will be a boon for that the diabetologist to diagnose and monitor under the blood sugars. So once again, sir, on behalf of that the track, we congratulate and we thank you for having come out the current technologies in the management of diabetes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sirs. We request Professor Shantaram sir to kindly hand over mementos to the chairpersons of the oration.
it is a privilege for Shanta to give this to his teacher, and this is a privilege I am getting from my student.